You are listening to Bold Dreams Held Loosely, Visions Embodied. What does it mean to hold a bold dream loosely? It means imagining the wildest, most daring possible future for yourself and having the courage to set out toward it. It means faith in the process and in the destination that the journey makes possible, that only takes shape as you journey toward it. It's being completely open to what life unfolds before you, trusting your internal compass will guide you to a place beyond your most wild imaginings. Visions Embodied is a collection of stories from way stations on the journey to self-actualization and becoming. We are all on different journeys, but we never walk alone. My name is Taryn Watts, and I am the founder of the Mind Rebel Academy. Inside this series, I hold space for the stories of MRA alumni who are courageously walking their path towards their dreams. Inside these conversations, they share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of the road less traveled. Let these stories open your mind to what is possible. Welcome, Diana. It is so good to have you on the podcast. For those of you who don't know Diana is an expert love coach and also the founder of the School of Love. She has helped thousands of women around the world meet their matches and access deeper layers of love in their existing relationships. She's been named top 2 love coach by Yahoo, selected as a TEDx speaker and featured on global TV, making her the reference for women who crave a different approach to love, one that gets them out of their heads and into their hearts. Diana was also a student in our inaugural cohort, in the MRA inaugural cohort back in 2019, almost a lifetime ago, it feels like. In fact, Diana, you were one of the people who encouraged me to begin training coaches. Yes.
I remember it so clearly. We'd hosted a retreat together and I was like, you're magic. If you ever train coaches, I will sign up.
You were one of the people who like pushed me over the edge to do this. And because you were already coaching without the certification, without the, the ICF accreditation. And you shared with me, if you ever start training coaches, I'll be the first person to sign up. So I knew, okay, at least I have Diana. Diana will join me.
I had been looking at schools for years and I would go to the websites and not feel it and like, can't do it if I'm not feeling it. So I was waiting for the right opportunity to come and there it was.
And you graduated in February 2020.
I guess so, yeah.
Right before the whole world changed.
Oh, true. How crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this concept of dreaming for your life was not new to you when you joined the MRA. You have been a big dreamer since as long as I've known you, which has been a very, very long time.
Yeah, very long time.
And this space, Diana, is for you to share your story and for you to share, what those dreams were that you held for yourself and the journey you've been on to get where you are today, which is absolutely extraordinary. Where you are today, a selected TEDx speaker, helping thousands of women around the world, being like the go-to person in the relationship coaching industry. You've achieved incredible things in your life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a crier. If anyone did.
Yeah. So take us back.
How far back?
Yeah.
Okay. If I even go to like, let's say like 15 years ago, early 20s, and there is this idea and there's this, I know, okay, I could go back to as early as being a child and be like, I know I'm meant to share something and really thinking sharing my voice was actually by way of singing. That's what I really thought. I thought I meant to be a singer. And that's how I meant to share my voice. And I went down that path and I took vocal lessons and I moved to New York and I worked with trainers there and I did always been dreaming, always been stretching myself outside the box. And that wasn't it. Like I knew in my soul, this isn't actually the place for me. But I'm still meant to do something with my voice. And I'm also meant to live a really extraordinary life. and working with people. I knew that much for sure. And I also just thought to myself, like, I don't know how, but I'm gonna like not work too much and like do really big things and just live my life the way I want it. And it's funny, I just remembered this the other day. I had completely forgotten that I had gotten certified as by the Planners Institute of Canada.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I forgot all about it. So clearly I knew like there was like, I was it's kind of like how you shared your story, you tried there was all
Mhm.
these different things that you think
Mhm.
are it, right? And we're on the path, like we're on to something, but we still just don't really, and I still believe that it'll continue to evolve, right? So I never worked as a wedding planner, but I did assist multiple weddings. And, I was just, I clearly knew there was something creative, something to do with love, something to do with like, yeah, bringing all of that together. And again, really outside of the box was always so important for me. And then in 2013, I met my partner. And in 2014, I decided to start a blog. And I called it Ask Diana. And I was talking about conscious living in general, but really was focused on love and relationships, and had all this inspiration in my new relationship and seeing how I had transcended some really deep rooted patterns of anxious attachment and was experiencing something secure. And I had felt that I'd really embodied that secure version of myself. And I was just talking about it. And then I was getting this like small but engaged and committed following. Then I started hosting meetups around Montreal. I did it every month for a year for free. And no sweet clue where all of this is leading to until some of these women who were attending regularly started to ask me if they could work with me one on one. And I was totally perplexed and didn't really know I could do this coaching thing. Like I didn't even really know that was a thing. And so I was working with them one on one for free and was just like learning about my process, learning how to work in that way with people, seeing the really amazing results. They're starting to refer me to their friends. And then I have my first client show up and say, how much do you charge? And I think I threw out a rate something like 85 an hour or something, which I'm like, that was really ambitious right off the bat.
Awesome.
It's not surprising. And yeah, and so began really the journey, and like coaching and loving it, and then but also feeling like this is really growing, and I would really love to feel an alignment and integrity and know that I have the skills and the tools to truly help people. Now I think it's innate skill and learned skill combined is
Mhm.
a powerful combination,
Yeah.
right? So it's not to say to disregard like just that innate ability that so many of us have, but then combining that with real tools and practicing that in the environment in the MRA. So, fast forward, I have this business and it's growing, and then you decide to launch the MRA, and it was a total no-brainer to join that. And throughout that time, I was reflecting on it in the shower this morning. I'm like, what was my vision? And my vision really was like very few one-on-one clients, doing more groups and circles and things like that, having my partner at home, which we could talk about how that ended up happening, um, making a certain amount of money that felt like the safe benchmark at the time, and having another child. So that was all starting to brew, and we were doing our visioning in the practitioner and in the coach pathway. And here we are. Like sometimes I have to remind myself, you're inside of the vision. I'd have these visions of sitting with our son, who we already had at that time. I envisioned us having a daughter who we now have, this beautiful Sophia, and in our home, in our renovated kitchen, which it wasn't renovated at the time, but I was picturing it, and Jack being at home and coming and like giving me kisses in between my calls, and like all of those pieces. I was getting so specific about all of those pieces. And it's just really crazy to be like, here we are living this thing. I mean, COVID brought about so many things for us. Like it brought Jack home. They left their office and decided everyone was going to work from home. It's a small team that he has. So he's here working from home every single day. And, we had our girl, the business is growing. I'm doing like mostly group experiences, a few one-on-ones here and there. And so it continues to evolve, but like here I am sitting right in Sandra's vision and it's crazy.
It is almost like a pinch me.
Yeah, and sometimes I forget,
Yeah.
right? And I take it for granted, and then I have this moment where I'm like, look around you, like you literally pictured all of this. And then of course I'm on to the next
Right.
visions and it never really stops, but at least if I can sink into what is while I'm expanding for what's next, that feels really good.
Mm. What have been some really important lessons learned
Mm.
along the way?
Oh my God, so many. So in 2019, I was also inside of a business mentorship program, which you know.
Yeah.
And I would say that in that time, I got really focused on numbers, as if like numbers were the gauge for success. And like one of my biggest lessons learned along this way is that is so just secondary. It's like the gauge of success is really how I feel in my body every single day, the gratitude I'm able to hold for my life, the alignment of the clients that I call in,
Mm,
loving who I'm working with and how I'm working, not just the dollars coming in, right? But like, am I really in love with the spaces that I'm holding? Am I really in love with the way I'm delivering? Am I really in love with who I'm working with? And continuing to refine that and feeling so expanded in my business right now because of that. Um, so, oh my God, so many things, learning that like it's beautiful to be a dreamer and always expanding in my dreams, but there needs to be a moment where I really do settle into the gratitude of what is here and now, and really soaking that in and letting myself fully receive what I've already created and co-created with my partner, with the universe, with my family, with our kids, with my clients. Um, Asking for support, calling on support in different ways, knowing like it isn't a solo journey. It doesn't
mm,
have to be a solo journey. Yeah, those are some really big ones that come to me. Also, detaching from timelines. Oh, okay. A really big one that's come through in this last year, 2023 specifically. Not attaching my identity or my worth to any outside success.
mm,
So whether it waxes or wanes, whether it's, I'm in my most abundant season or my least abundant season, that it doesn't shake who I am on the inside. It doesn't
yeah.
shake who I know myself to be. It doesn't shake, or it doesn't even form or shape. I should say shake or shape. That it even doesn't shape who I am. Who I am shapes, it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I definitely got caught in that for a while where it was this attachment to a certain level of success or perceived level of success, and noticing how much my ego was really liking that and really wanting to label in a certain way. And my work this year has been to completely shed that
Mm.
and really just, can I always be in this level of trust, gratitude, love, no matter what?
To me, that right there is the like epitome of success as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. And like a real attunement to my nervous system and
Mm-hmm.
a real commitment to, it has to feel good for it to be right, and that this has to be the most important thing because my energy is imprinting everything and every person I touch. And so there's a real level actually of responsibility there that I truly feel is so valuable and so important to acknowledge. And people are coming to us as coaches, let's say, who, if you're watching this, if you are a coach yourself, with so much trust.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big responsibility.
huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and really being like, I feel so clean and clear in my energy And so then I can trust that whatever unfolds in this next hour or 2 hours together with a client, that like I'm here like a pure vessel, no agenda, no forcing, nothing to make myself feel complete. I can really just be here, and like that being the greatest gift.
Um, what, when I think about dreamers, like you and I, and the twists and the turns and the challenges and the setbacks and the triumphs and the oh my gosh and just the unknowns and the navigating the path. If you even think about the path you've navigated from crafting, and I remember vividly your vision, Diana. I remember that vision that you created in practitioner training, and I remember having a conversation with you once and saying, you're in it. Like, do you realize you're living your vision today?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that path and the twists and the turns and again the setbacks and the triumphs along the way, what made you keep going?
Oh my God, so many things. Like there are quite a number of things. I would like to say it's just one thing, but it isn't. Well, to be honest, there is no other option. Like there's no option for me not to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And like that feels really true. There's no option for me not to do this work in the world. I know that without a single question in my body. There's literally no question in my body. I'm meant for this. I know that so clearly. So it's this, like, I can't even imagine a reality where I'm not an entrepreneur and building the school of love and working with people around the world and like facilitating these massive breakthroughs for the relationships or the relationships they're calling in. Like, it is so nourishing and expansive for me, but it also feels like I must. My father was really sick earlier this year and it was really touch and go for a while. And yes, I took a period to just be very present with it when it was very intense, but then I was sharing, and one of my best friends calls me and she's like, how are you doing that? And it's because I feel it feels like such an honor and a privilege to have a space to share. And it's actually like I alchemize through that process. So it's like, sometimes people want to hide from their businesses when things are not great in their life. And I feel quite the opposite. I feel like it is my haven.
Mm.
It's where I feel so at home and so comfortable. And the other reasons too, well, it's like it's all tied. It's like the life that I get to live, the people I get to meet, the experiences I get to have, the places I get to go, the way I can craft my own schedule, the way I can be present with my kids, the way I can, have like mid-afternoon sexy time with my partner. And all of that is so available because of this business. And because of this, it's business doesn't even feel like
Mm-hmm.
the word. It's just it sounds so cliche, but it's my soul calling. It's my soul calling. And when I don't follow that, I feel sick and contracted and just complete out of alignment. So there's nothing about what I do that's forced. It pulls me. I'll never forget once you said to me, Taryn, the train is moving so fast and I feel like I'm just catching up to it. That like that's what's happening. The train,
Mm.
and I am keeping up with it because it has a life of its own, and this life force wants to come through me in this way and say these things and create these programs and create these spaces, and I'm just like at your service.
Mm. So how do you keep up?
Discerning. Is this now? Is this later?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, does this fit in now? Does this go on the shelf and get revisited later? Having a team, which I know like doesn't come right away, but I was pretty proactive about that from a very early time in my business, even when there wasn't necessarily like all the funds to pay for that, but it felt really necessary for the vision. So definitely my team. Um, Taking lots of quiet time, even when my mind says, but you gotta get to the details. And I'm like, I like nothing can be more important than this moment of stillness. Taking time to be outside, exercise, move my body, be with my family, like intentionally taking time away because I know that there is so much work to be done and I need to stay fueled.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looks like a lot of meditation. It looks like working with my own coaches and having a space to share what's happening inside of me. It looks like just spending slow quality time with my partner. And again, like making this a priority, even when life, I could believe the illusion that there isn't time. That is such an illusion. And at the end of the day, do I want to say, I checked off my whole list? Like, is that how, when I'm on my last breath, is that really the thing I want to say? I checked everything off my list.
I was really good at my to-dos. I nailed that.
I've been thinking about
Right.
and my end
Yeah.
days a lot. It's been really helping me to put things into perspective and really be truthful about my priorities.
What a beautiful reflection.
Yeah.
So how do you want to be remembered, Diana?
Hmm. Why does that make me want to cry?
Yeah, it's such a tender question. Isn't that a tender question?
Yeah, I would say there's two things that come for me. Um, that I was present and that I showed up with love. Mhm.
Something I have observed you do incredibly well. There's this line I always say, and when it comes to having a bold dream and holding it loosely, there's a line that I say, and I'm gonna recite the line to you, and I want you to tell us what that means to you and what that actually looks like in your life.
Mhm.
And so the line is arrive despite current circumstances.
Mm.
What does that mean to you?
It means seeing where I'm going. It means seeing the bigger picture. It means not looking at like exactly what's in front of me today and deciding, well, then that informs where I'm going. Or it's not looking at my past and deciding that informs where I'm going. It's like being being her today, regardless of what's happening on the outside. And being her, whatever that version of her looks like to me, that her being the her that has arrived,
Mhm.
which I already know myself now there is no arrival because I arrived and then I'm like on to the
Fair.
next.
Fair.
Right? So it means I just if I just to simplify it, it's like who is this beautiful soul in front of me inside of me? Like she's so wild. She's so like she's so wild and creative and just letting her be herself in the capacity she has to be today, regardless of what is happening in the world around her. Like this pure radical commitment. And to me, that definitely means like this radical commitment to sovereignty.
Tell us a little bit more about what sovereignty means to you.
Yeah. It's like that place of personal power that lives in my body and like I know where to find it and it's like deep somewhere between my diaphragm and my sacral and moving with that. So I would say I'm quite skilled at not being a victim of choosing like the parts of circumstances and see like what is my part here, what is my part in the unraveling or the what is my part in this negative thing we find ourselves in, let's say, And what's my part in the movement through it and forward? And
Mm.
what's my part in transcending that? So I really don't see things as like someone did something to me or this is happening to me. And I really don't. There will be moments I might notice myself fall into that, but it's very quick before I lift myself out and go, why is this here for me? What is here for me? How do I want to show up for it? Period.
Mm.
Period. No no waiting to be saved or someone else to change. Just getting honest with myself about and also seeing the gift in whatever is in front of me and moving with that. Okay, I will, even though this feels like the hardest thing in the world. My dad was in the hospital. Their doctors are telling us like he's not going to make it. And it feels like the hardest thing I've ever been in. And it's like, but how do I want to move through this? How do I want to be in this? I don't believe this is a bad thing happening to me. I actually truly, the whole way through it, believed this is happening for us and our family.
Mm.
And on so many layers. There were so many layers to it. Detachment, faith, preparation for the inevitable time my dad made it through, for the inevitable time where that will happen. Preparation for our family unit that like we have to have some conversations around what happens when one of our parents goes and what's happening to the other parent. And it just felt like and it was crazy to say this and I meant it the whole way through. It felt like a gift
Wow.
the entire time. The way my sister's partner showed up, the way my partner showed up. We lived as this little community in my parents' home. Who's doing the dishes, cleaning, picking up groceries, driving my mom to the hospital, going to see my dad at night, making food, whatever it was. It was like this incredible blessing of a time. Now, my dad made it through. So,
Mhm.
I understand that I'm speaking from that context. No matter what, I know I can make it through because of sovereignty.
There's so much freedom and power in that.
Yes.
Something is really striking me about what you're saying. This mindset that you have, this openness, this willingness to look at challenges and potential setbacks and like quote unquote negative, the negative things that are coming into your experience, and this ability to reframe
Yeah.
as a way to, you know, like you said, like alchemize the situation and alchemize the energy of it and transmute it, move through it. Like use that almost, I'm imagining this like this wormhole that you enter and moving through that, moving through the uncertainty, the unknown, the doubt, and getting out, and continuing to show up as the version of yourself
Yes.
that you are claiming.
Yes.
Like, this is who I am, and this is how I want to be.
Yes.
One foot in front of the other, even on days where I can't see the ground I am stepping on.
Yes. And I really believe it's how we move through those contracted states and those contracted moments. Like our expansion, I don't even believe our expansion's on the other side. I believe our expansion is within how we move through the contraction. Like
Yeah.
how we move through the contraction informs the expansion, right? And
Mm.
almost like I'm almost imagining when I'm in that wormhole, like you just described. And so how do I like it's like, oh, let me pick some trust from this wormhole. Let me pick some surrender. Let me pick some detachment and anchor that more deeply in my body. I've had some really tremendous and not necessarily the details don't matter here today, but I've had some really tremendous spiritual awakenings this year. So I'm also speaking from that place where I feel like I've had big felt experiences of like what is really happening on this earth. And so now, are there situations that would bring me to my knees, like something happening to my children? Absolutely. I'd meet my darkest shadows and I would move through them.
Whew. From where you stand today, something that you've said a couple times in this conversation is that you acknowledge that I am in an arrival. I've arrived inside of a vision I launched and created and crafted many, many years ago. And that vision for our lives is ever evolving forward.
Oh yeah.
And isn't it the fine dance of moving because I believe our visions are actually creations. Like we are these creative beings who are constantly evolving and
Yeah.
constantly creating. And so I find it's this fine dance between the creation of the vision and the evolution of the vision and this deep gratitude and presence of what is now that you do so well. You embody so well. You embody that dance so beautifully. Can you talk to us about from where you sit today?
Mm.
What's next? Like what's the next vision brewing inside your heart?
Oh, how much time do we have?
Yeah.
It really is like that. Like I tell whenever I onboard someone to my team, I'm like, well, the hardest thing about working with me is just how fast things evolve. And like, I just have to roll with that energy moving, and that's what it is. I can't stop that flow, nor do I want to. Okay, so some of the visions like my vision is now including an even like a different home, a more expansive home, a home with more space. So we've like made this one into a beautiful piece of art, and now it's feeling like it's time to move on as our family grows. So that's definitely in the vision. Um, I'm seeing and actually I'm starting to arrive in that already right away. So one of the visions I had, especially around 2020, was like, how do I get out of here in the winter? How do I get out of here in the winter while
Yeah.
having kids? And my son is now in elementary school, and so how do you do that? So it's evolved slowly over time. A couple winters ago, I went away for a short period with my daughter, went to see my sister. Last winter, we went away for a month altogether. And this winter, I'm going multiple times away. So one of my visions that is just being birthed, like I'm in the process of birthing it, is hosting a global supper club series around the world.
Oh my, tell me more about
So
this.
the inaugural event, I haven't even announced it yet. This is literally the first place I say it besides my team and my husband. Um, is going to be like intimate dinners around the world talking about love and relationships, like super simple, like the best cuisine and the best conversation hosted by me. And so the inaugural event is in Mexico City, December 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think the next one likely will be in Orange County near Los Angeles in February. I'm going away with my family also to see my brother-in-law in November. So, like that vision of being away for the winter, it's starting to come to fruition of, okay, maybe it's like small trips. And sometimes I'll be with my family, sometimes I'll be with my alone, sometimes maybe I'll take one of my kids or so that's brewing. Also brewing, oh my God, certification for
Mhm.
those who want to be love coaches.
Yeah.
And so that's felt like a very scary next step, but also like very real and necessary. Those are some of the big things coming
I
through.
just want to pause for a second because both of those pieces of the vision that you just shared, there was this childlike
Mhm.
excitement coupled with this, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, you know? And I think that that intersection or that energy that you just shared, there's something really important about that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely important, right? Like it's like that's the that's the spot.
That's the source.
That's
It's like,
that is the
that's it.
source. And it's like I feel like waves in my body. It's like I imagine, my inner goddess and she's like, "Yes, thank you for listening. Like, let's do this. I want to go places. You're my vehicle. I want to
Mhm.
go." So, um being in person has been really calling me, and I've met so many of my clients in person this year, and just I set the intention, and then I've had clients from around the world being like, I'm coming to Montreal, can I meet you? I'm like, heck yes, let's go for dinner, let's go do something. So in person's been really calling me in a big way. Probably speaking on more stages, which scares the crap out of me. Yeah, just like it's feeling like it's all refining and it's all sort of coming together. And it feels really big.
Yeah, it's the sweet spot. I always say your next best step or your vision should simultaneously terrify your mind and stir your soul.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There are a few other pieces brewing I'll share really quickly. Our first teen initiative.
Mm.
So we've created a branch called Raising Worthy Women, and
Oh, I love that title. I love that name.
I will give credit to Eleni, who's also a student of the MRA, for helping come up with that name. And so we're crafting that together to serve the younger generation, and at some point also young boys too, just one piece at a time. So that's coming to life, as well as potentially like circles and spaces for men as well inside of the School of Love. So it's all,
So needed. Yeah.
it's just it's all building and ever evolving, and sometimes I just can't even believe this is where I am.
I hope people listening to this feel expanded by your story. I think that's the power of sharing our dreams and sharing our stories of fulfilling our dreams, is that if it, I hope people listening can listen to your story and think, like, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, that's what dreams should be. They should expand the possibilities
Yeah,
for others. As I listen to you, your story is expanding something inside of me.
yeah, yeah. I would hope so, right? It's like being around expanders and people who expand
Mhm.
our vision is so necessary on this journey, because you look around and I can look at my day to day and say, but that's not here today. Like, I don't see the evidence of that necessarily, although that's not even true at this point, because I can look back and when you have enough experience to, like, decades into your life, or a decade into your work or whatever it is, you can connect dots more easily and say, well, that did happen, so I can believe in what's coming next, right? But I absolutely believe that being around people who expand our visions is one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves. And what I've come to just know so deeply in every cell of my body, as a gift to myself, as a gift to the world, like,
Mhm.
hands down.
Diana, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. So for people who are really intrigued about you and your work, how can they learn more about you? First, how do you work with your clients, and then how can they learn more about you?
Yeah. One of the best spaces right now is Portal of Love. So I really wanted to create a space that was more accessible for people, and I still understand that that's relative, but that, like, could really serve on a wider scale, as opposed to like Inner Circle, which was really, really intimate and higher investment. So Portal of Love is this open space where you get to come and experience group coaching, get access to all my courses, my master classes. It's not self-led; it's a part self-led with, like, deep, like, support as well. And that's really about, like, opening the heart, owning your voice, embodying security. And then, like, the ascension from there is really Inner Circle, which is about deep receivership, as someone who identifies as being in a woman's body. That's like high level mentorship, like relationship to everything. In the Inner Circle, we talk about it all: relationship to your clients, to your business, to the universe, to your partner, to yourself, to your children, to your mother, your father, like all of it. Those are two of the main spaces I'm working in right now. And then, one off session, or one on one, like, commitments as well, when there's really, really a soul connection there, and it feels expansive for both of us. The best place to really learn about what I'm up to and what I'm doing, I'd say, is actually my Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really like where it's the most up to date. My Facebook group is beautiful, Fearless Love with Diana. It's fearless, love, because there's no such thing as fearless, right?
Right.
It's less.
Your less love. I love that.
Yeah, my website, dianaeskander.com, or just send me a message at any of those places. Say hi, let me know you watch this, let me know what stuck out for you. It's such my pleasure to make connections no matter where it goes.
Mm. Okay. And I'm going to put these links beneath the show notes of this episode.
Beautiful.
Diana, any last words of wisdom for people listening with a dream brewing inside of their heart? Any last words of wisdom that you want to offer?
Can I say just one?
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'll say where I am right now is the most powerful path I found to stepping into my next dream is really combining like the energetics of belief and trust and finding my place of power and then taking action from that place of power. But don't forego the energetic piece for the tangible action piece, because that's
Mm.
what gives momentum and life and like this potent, precise direction when you can really combine the two.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too. At the Mind Rebel Academy, we train and support world-class coaches and leaders. We believe that a person thriving inside of their life's work creates a ripple effect that will be felt for generations to come. If you have a yearning to more deeply impact those you love and serve, coaching can create a powerful outlet to step into your purpose. The MRA is wildly dedicated to our students and their potential. Becoming a coach is not something you do, it's someone you become. This is why we have designed our renowned ICF-accredited Mind Rebel Coach Training Series to be a unique blend of coach skills training and deep reflective self-discovery. The passion, integrity, and devotion that we bring to our programs creates an intimate, high-touch, and deeply transformative experience for our students. And to ensure that we maintain that level of service and support, our flagship coach training only begins once a year in the spring and is limited in size. Visit our website to learn more about our start dates and how you can apply to join at www.themindrebel.com. This is so much more than a training. This is your legacy.